What's something you're really glad you did? Story 1. I got my eyes checked. I thought everyone's eyes went blurry the further away they got from things. Seemed logical to me. I remember putting my glasses on for the first time and being shocked at how much I could see. So many colors, the world became so much more beautiful. Story 2. My son has a terrible speech impediment, and at a checkup we found out he may need glasses. We took him to get checked out. Turns out not only did he need glasses, but the poor kid's lenses are like a 1/4 inch thick. I never knew. He put those glasses on his face for the first time in the store, and he just made the most amazed face and said, "Whoa." I started crying in the store, and then he walked like 6 feet away from me and with a big smile on his face said, "Mom, I can see you." I never knew he couldn't see me, or anything else really, properly this whole time. We all thought his eyes were perfectly normal. Comment: I'm just glad you took someone's advice when they said he may need glasses. Some folks can't handle that kind of suggestion. They get upset, assuming they are being called a bad parent, when of course they're not a bad parent, and they get stubborn and refuse. But so often, when there's a problem, those closest don't realize, because it develops gradually and is normal, which happens to everyone. So it's worth listening when someone we trust notices that maybe a normal thing isn't normal. You listened, and now your son can see. Response: he can see, and yet we're still trying to get him into the habit of wearing glasses. He's only 4 and very stubborn, and the prescription is quite a jump away from what he has been perceiving as normal his entire life. He'll wear them for us when he gets what he calls dizzy eyes, or if we're in the car, or he needs to see something else that is further away. I finally understand why he's never sat through a movie at the theater. Story 3. When I was about 10 years old, my parents and I were in our backyard, clearing out a ton of weeds that had gotten out of hand. I had trouble focusing because our next door neighbor had this really adorable puppy, and all I wanted to do was play with him. We found out that they were actually going to take him to an animal shelter because their son was not taking care of him like he promised. I decided to ask my parents if maybe we can get him instead. I was an only child and never really had anyone to play with unless a friend would come over, and the thought of having a puppy to play with whenever I wanted was great. My parents agreed, and our neighbors offered to sell him to us for $20. I had that saved up and immediately agreed and promised I care for him and love him forever. So he became my puppy, a brother, and after a few days of debating, I named him Snoopy. Snoopy became my closest friend. He made me laugh, played with me, and would just hang out and watch TV with me. He was always there for me, especially through some tough times in my life where I was extremely self-destructive. He saved me from myself. He was there at my side through tough breakups. He was an amazing friend. He was there to see me graduate 8th grade, high school and college. I hoped he would be there on the day I got married and maybe be around when I had kids. But unfortunately, as much as we wish for things, sometimes they don't happen. He passed away 4 years ago, after being by my side for almost 17 years. Not a day goes by that I don't think about him though, and I know how much of an impact he had on my life. Years of friendship, happy memories and love. It never would have happened if I hadn't asked my parents if we could have him. I don't think my life would be the same without him, and even though I'm sad he's gone, I'm grateful I had him in my life. Story 4. I gave a nice guy a chance. Not a nice guy, but a guy I wasn't quite sure about. I liked him and I found him attractive, but he didn't give me butterflies. Everyone plays up those butterflies, but I've come to realize they're just anxiety. If someone is giving you anxiety, you aren't going to be able to relax and be yourself, and ultimately it isn't going to go anywhere. I went on a date with him, I was totally comfortable and at ease with him, and I had a great time. I could tell he was nervous, but I just waited on him to make the first moves. I'm so glad I did. This man is incredible. I can be 100% myself and he can be 100% himself. We just fit. Like Forrest Gump says, we're peas and carrots. This has been the healthiest relationship of my life, and I have a good feeling that it will go to the distance. Don't look for the butterflies. Give it a shot with the person you can be entirely yourself with. Butterflies ain't shit compared to this. Story 5. Might not be as relatable to everyone, but I'm so glad I switched majors in college. I entered since I scored straight A's in chemistry in high school, and even did well in my first year, but I realized my heart was in the social services and figured there's no point in spending 3 more years studying chemistry only to not use it. It may not be the most applicable thing for everyone, but the amount of times people told me not to bother switching was a lot. Even faculty staff kept telling me it was impossible to switch, and I could never graduate on time if I did. I proved that with proper module mapping I could easily do so, but they kept citing how it goes against their standard practice. I had to talk all the way up to the vice dean to get them to process my transfer application, and honestly, if not for the head of department at my new major, social work, being so passionate in helping, I'm not sure if my application would have gone through. Could imagine if I wasn't convicted by my experiences in working with 2 schools, mentoring youths on the spectrum, that I would have just stayed in a major I would not have wanted to work in after graduation. Story 6. I told my parents that I loved them every time I left the house and gave them a hug. New Year's Eve 2 years ago, my father passed away and the last words I said to him were "I love you." He had a massive stroke and died the next day. 2 days before Christmas last year, my mother died of complications due to cancer. This is the easiest thing to do in the world. My brothers always teased me, but after Dad died, everyone was told they were loved before they left. You truly never know when it's going to be the last time you meet. It makes it much easier knowing that those words were the last thing I said to both of my parents. Story 7. I learned to do simple home and appliance repairs with YouTube videos. One video featured a kindly older man who walked me through taking my washing machine apart to replace a hose, and after I did the repair I felt invincible. I've since done a lot more repairs and fixes I never would have tried. Comment. Same here but with my car. My brakes decided to go out and I needed 4 new calipers, 4 new rotors, a new master cylinder and pads all around. Shop wanted $1,400 to do it. I said screw that and walked myself through a couple YouTube tutorials and ended up doing the whole thing myself. Fixing something is such a fulfilling feeling. Story 8. I dropped out of college. I realized I was one of those people for which college wasn't for them. I did great in high school, but college is a whole different experience. College gave me depression and severe anxiety issues that I'm still getting over today. Luckily, I had a spot to go into a family business, and I'm so much happier with life now and have a brighter outlook and no student loans. I know student loans are a big problem in the US. From what I got to know, community colleges might be a good alternative. Don't quote me on that though. It is just something I have learned from listening to several smart American people on YouTube. Story 9. We waited until our 5th wedding anniversary to drop the birth control and start having babies. My husband and I had a blast in those early years, sleeping in, traveling, buying our first house and decorating it. When the kids were born, we ended up having two. We felt like we'd had some us time and we weren't just somebody's parents from day one. Story 10. I quit video games. Crazy how much of my life they were taking up. Now I exercise more, get out more, read more. Just in general, I try new things. I rarely ever miss it, and if I do, it's just for the social interaction of some friends I have there. Comment. I made the same decision 2 months ago. I have since sold my computer, screen, etc. I'm more social, I exercise regularly and take care of myself on a daily basis now. However, I do have a switch for the occasional smash evenings with my friends, and since my decision, I travel a lot more. Before the last story, you can check the description, comment about the stories that you had similar to this, and maybe like and subscribe. I have more videos like this on my channel. Story 11. We have here a "school doesn't teach me to pay my taxes" solution. I moved out from my parents' house for college. I learned to cook for myself, clean after myself, take care of myself, and manage my finances and time, since I had to get a job to support myself too. It basically taught me how to adult. I think you will like the video that's showing on the screen. You could also check my channel and subscribe for more. Have a pleasant rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one.